Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Training, Learning, and Development community. Thanks for joining us. Today, we have another member showcase, and very excited for this one. We have a member of the Training, Learning, and Development community, Muturi Njeri, joining us. And I loved going through and kind of researching who you were, seeing that I saw that YouTube video, which I posted on the cover of this particular member showcase, and I'm so excited to be able to ask you about that, what that whole thing was about, and also just even what you do now. It's like you're not just a learning experiences designer, you do some other different things. So we've got about 30 minutes. I've got a bunch of questions to ask you, and are you ready for this?
I hope I am. Well, thank you so much for having me. I've been, watching these crowdcasts and listening to the podcast over the last year, and so it's quite an honor to be on it finally.
Oh, I love the fact that you're joining us. I want to say part of the reason why I make do these interviews and kind of create these member showcases is because I want other people to understand like what learning experience designers like you, Muturi, do and what they're like, and whether or not this is kind of the career for you or the path that you want to take. So
yes,
since you've been listening for the last year, you're probably on the right track, and it's great to have you here, just to know that that now you're legitimately a part of the community, because now you're a part of the showcase series. So let me start asking you some questions. Where did you start with learning and development? How did you start on your path for this career?
I mean, it's a bit of an interesting story because I didn't know about the field a couple of months before I got into the field. And when I graduated, I went to work for a bank, right, in Kenya, where I'm from. Right, I studied in the US, then I came back to Kenya and I started working for a bank. The bank also has a foundation, so I started with the foundation side. They have an education project, and so I was part of that educational project. And then I went to work for the bank, and then I felt like the work that I was doing wasn't really a great fit. And so I wanted to move into education, right? I felt like I had a passion for education. And so I started applying for jobs in different education companies here in Kenya. And one of the companies that I applied to was a network of schools called Nova Pioneer, right? And it's a network of schools here in Kenya. At the time, they were just in Kenya. They were called Nova Academies, but later they joined with another network of schools called Nova Pioneer, and they were doing education different. So they were very keen on active learning, peer-based learning, project-based learning, and a lot of these concepts, they were somewhat new, but because I had sort of learned in a lot of different systems of education in Kenya, in South Africa, in the US, I had seen, how education could be done differently, and so that was something I was very eager to sort of bring back. And so I applied for a role in marketing because I had been working as a writer at the bank, and so I thought I could do more storytelling at the school, right? And in the process of interviewing, they told me, we think you are a good fit for the organization, but we don't think you do very well in the marketing team. But there's a team that we have called the Learning Design team, which is in charge of curating and building the curriculum for the school, and we think you'd be a better fit for them. And so they told me more about the team, what the team did. I was quite intrigued, right? Because the way they sold it to me was that we we have this team that's like sort of a team of nerds who sort of figure out how to creatively make learning interesting for our learners, right? And I thought that's quite fascinating. That's really something I would want to try, right? And so I joined that team. So that was in 2017, about five years back. And yeah, so I joined the team as a designer for high school curriculum in the humanities. So I designed lesson plans for English, history, geography, and I really enjoyed it, right? Because it was almost like every time there's a puzzle you have to figure out, like how do you, for instance, make learning high school history interesting and relevant, right?
Yeah.
For teenagers, right? And I found it really fascinating, right? And so I've been in the field ever since.
That's great. I guess the way I look at it is they probably realized that you were too good for the marketing team. And so that's why they decided to push you over to the learning side. So congratulations on that. That's great to hear.
Thank
So
you.
what's your favorite part about being in a learning experience designer? Is there anything in particular that you really, really love about it?
I think the thing about it is that you have to have that love for learning. Like you must really enjoy the process of learning and be curious, right? And so every time you're sort of confronted with something new, right? There's a new area of knowledge you need to sort of dive into. There are new people to talk to and interact with, subject matter experts in different fields. And so that for me, like that research process, that process of learning is really fascinating for me. And, then when it moves to sort of the ideation phase where I get this Bob-like moments of, I can present this concept this way and it's going to be interesting, or I can build an engaging activity or exercise around this and it's going to stick more, or it's going to draw people in more, right? I think that's the thing I enjoy most about it.
That's great. So what kind of projects are you working on now? Is there anything you can tell us about?
Yeah, sure. So currently, I'm working with this organization called The Room, which is part of a group called the African Leadership Group. And as an organization, our main goal is to connect young Africans to dignified employment at scale. Right? We are a pretty young organization, and as you can imagine, connecting people to jobs is a hard thing to do, right? And it's even harder to do it, in the African context and in the midst of a pandemic, right?
Right.
So, yeah, so we've sort of been trying to design and iterate different models of doing this. And so one of the main things that we're working on right now is 1 month boot camp to equip young leaders who are looking for jobs, like the skills and the mindset and the tools that they need to land their first jobs, right? So this involves, helping them better understand and expand their awareness of the different career possibilities, right? So like for me, learning design wasn't really something that I had in my purview, when I was in campus or like when I graduated, right? And so I think just expanding people's mindsets about what's possible, what's out there, right? And then giving them an insider scoop of what employers are looking for and how to tailor their messaging in their resumes or in their elevator pitches or in their interviews to match what employers are looking for, or giving them tips on how to network, right? How to build connections with potential employers and potential contacts, whether this be virtually, like, what we're doing right now with the training, learning, and development community, or in person, right? If there are like career fairs or events where they can connect with people, right? So I'm part of a team that's designing that, and sort of designing the community experience that goes with it, right? It's a hybrid experience, so most of it happens online through learning management system, and then you've got a community platform. I don't know, you probably know Discord, right? So Discord is like this high power Slack system. So building the community experience around that, and also we have some in-person sessions as well, and some synchronous sessions as well. So just figuring out what's the best way to mix all of that together and build a great experience, and make sure that people coming out of that 1 month are really like prepared to go in and engage with employers and put their best foot forward as they look for jobs.
When did you start working on this particular project? Did it start during the pandemic, or was it before the pandemic?
This particular project started during the pandemic, even though there are a couple of other projects that we've done in the Africa Leadership Group, which are also geared towards a similar goal. So, for instance, there's this software engineering program that we started in collaboration with an organization called Hobarton. It's a 12-month online program, and so I was in charge of. I didn't design the curriculum itself, but I was in charge of like designing the community experience and the onboarding and sort of the ecosystem that helped the participants make the most out of the curriculum.
Wow!
So there are a couple of them.
So the pandemic must have really changed how you have to do things. I mean, did you move pretty much fully to remote? And what has been the hardest part about it, you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it completely, changed things, because as I told you, I mean, I started with working for a high school in-person design team, right? And then when I moved to the African Leadership Group, our programs were primarily, not even primarily, like almost 100% in person, right? I joined the African Leadership Group in October of 2019. Right? So the first like 6 months, we were designing in-person programs, right? And then the pandemic hits, and we have to put the in-person programs on hold, right? We can't hold the sessions in person. The team can't go to the office. We actually had to close down the office and work remotely. And now we had to take a step back and start figuring out how do we move to an online mode of learning. Yeah. And it was quite difficult, because like we couldn't just take what we were doing and replicate it online. We tried a bit, but it wasn't working as well, right? And also, like for me, I had to learn a lot more about how to design for online experiences. And I think it was generally like it was a period of growth for me as a designer, because I spent a lot more time reading, getting into the theories, finding more people who are doing digital learning, and experimenting with different online learning tools, right? And so I think if I was sort of as a designer, was to pick the period in my career when I've learned and grown the most, I would definitely pick the last 2 years during the pandemic. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's great. I mean, it's really, really interesting to hear about that. I mean, you saw that shift, and then you had to really adjust for what was happening in the world, and that is a major change. That's pretty incredible. I'd also like to hear about. I mean, from what I got reading your LinkedIn profile and kind of doing some research on your background, you love to write. You're
yes, I do.
a writer. Yeah, talk about that a little bit. Can you tell me a little bit more about who you are as a writer, what you write about, what, you know, like just tell me about that.
No, thank you. I see myself as both a designer and as a writer, and I think my writing influences a lot of how I approach design. But writing is a passion I've had for the longest time, and it really got sharpened when I went to this school called the Africa Leadership Academy in South Africa when I was around 16, 17. And this was like the first time I had an opportunity to take a creative writing class and choose whatever I wanted to write about. And so I've generally been like growing up, I was a pretty quiet child, and so writing for me became a way to find and express myself. And so I've been doing mostly nonfiction writing throughout, you know, my college years. Actually, when I was in college, we started writing a blogging project. It was called the African Youth Journals. Brought together a couple of friends that I had gone to high school and I was going to college with when I was in the US. And we started telling our stories basically, and trying to like challenge stereotypes about, you know, what it meant to be African and to be young, and sort of the dreams that we had, and sort of the opinions and ideas that we had. And it was a great platform. We published like 100 articles in about 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, but we struggled to keep it going. So after a while, after like 2.5 years, we had to shut it down. But it was a great learning experience for me. And, you know, since then I've been involved in, you know, blog like writing blog posts. I also did some ghost writing.
Have you?
For yeah, I did some ghost writing for in my first job actually at the bank. I did some ghost writing for them. Yeah, and I even had a satirical blog, which was like a clone of the Onion. Yeah, but
that sounds creative. That sounds creative.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Maybe I did it like 2015, 2016. Maybe I can find the links and share with you. It was a lot of fun writing those.
Yeah, totally. I'd love to see it. I really would. So tell me, like, how is there anything in particular that inspires your work as a learning professional? And then also, is there anything that inspires you as a writer too?
I think the thing that inspires me the most is knowing that I'm doing meaningful work, and work that will matter to people and have an impact on them, whether it's the training and design work, which enables people to gain skills and, you know, to change their mindsets and really empower them to achieve the best versions of themselves, right? And that's a powerful thing. And I also with the writing, right? So when someone connects with my writing and it speaks to them, it resonates with them, makes them feel seen, that's really powerful, and it really pushes me to keep going. yeah, and then someone who really inspires me is Maya Angelou, and I read a lot of her poetry. She's got a couple of amazing quotes. I have one that I keep above my desk, which says, "You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have." Right? I really love that one because
That's a great one.
It's a great one. It's a great one, especially for the moments where you're having that, writers and like designers block. So
Yeah. No, that's
yeah.
inspiring me right now. I love it. I'm gonna have to look that one up and hang it up on my desk because that's a really really good one.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you stay on top of your professional development? What do you do to keep learning and to keep growing as a learning professional and even as a writer? Is there anything that you do that you could that you can tell us about?
I mean, I think for me, I always stay curious. I like there's always new areas I don't know about. So like there's a question there that you had asked, what did I wish I knew at the beginning, like when I joined the profession. And there are a lot of things that I'm finding out. Like, for instance, there are some, learning and development adjacent fields like UX, user experience, research, user experience, writing, service design, and these are all areas where I'll read some blog posts or read books about them, or maybe take a short online course about them and find them really fascinating, right? So I think just trying to stay curious and both sort of maintaining that curiosity, but also sometimes it can feel overwhelming. It can feel like there's a sea of knowledge out there, and you're like, I don't know if I'll ever really feel confident in knowing that I'm very strong in all of this. So just staying grounded, but also staying curious and trying to learn as much as possible.
That's great. So primarily are the resources that you go to are online and that's what you sort of use as your tool to stay on
Yeah,
top of things?
yeah. Online, I read I read books as well. I'm always on the lookout for like recommendations, or like great books. I actually I read a lot about I wrote a lot of learning design and learning development books in the last year. There are also some great what is it called, newsletters that I've signed up on. So
Yeah.
I'll also have a read over the weekends.
Yeah, yeah, I love newsletters. I actually try to sign up for them, and if I don't like them, I just unsubscribe. But mostly,
Mhm.
the I that's where I get a lot of my stuff from is actually from newsletters, and not just for for not just instructional design or e-learning or anything like that. I sign up for some great UX newsletters, some great
Mhm.
marketing newsletters. I get all kinds of good stuff. Technical. It's good to just sort of get a little bit of everything, and then I always find something valuable throughout the week. So that's newsletters are a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Muturi, what other kinds of jobs have you worked?
I've done a lot of different types of jobs. I was a bank receptionist when I was like 17, which was quite fascinating because I mean everyone gets mad at like the bank receptionist. And when you're 17-year-old, like it's crazy, yeah. And you're the first person they see, and if the ATM is not working, it's your fault. If the mobile bank is not working, it's your fault. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was interesting. And then when I was in college, I had this job where I sort of dusted and arranged books on the library shelves. Which was quite it was quite interesting, but it wasn't the most interesting. So I would like have my headphones on, listen to music and podcasts.
Yeah.
And I had another job still then, where like the IT team, so like fixing computers and gadgets for students, and like everyone comes to you and they're freaking out. Like some people will show up, they haven't backed up the essays and they're working on it the whole night, and they come up to you and they're like, "Oh, my computer crashed. You save me." So it was high stakes job. And then of course I've done bit of like ghostwriting, and I've done college counseling as well. So helping people with like their college application essays, their SATs, and all that. Yeah, and then but primarily most of my work has been in learning and development, learning design, service design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've done, you've been focused on a lot of service throughout your career. That's great.
Yes.
It makes sense that you're in this field now. So before I wrap things up, I do want to hear about this award that you got. Was that the video?
Yes.
Is that from South Africa? Is that where you were, or where was that?
No, that was in Edinburgh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I did my master's in Edinburgh at the University of Edinburgh, and I was quite privileged to get a scholarship to do my master's. I was a MasterCard Foundation scholar.
Wow.
Yeah, and the award. I got it towards the end of my time there, and it's essentially this award that the president of the university awards to several people. They'll pick a few people who have been nominated, or they have heard, or they know that they're doing things in the community that are sort of exemplary, or that sort of reflect the values of the university. And so it came as a surprise. It's not something that I knew about before I was awarded, and it wasn't something like I was gunning for or anything like that. And I just got an email one day, and he told me, you've been awarded this prize, and it was quite a privilege, because I think I was in Edinburgh for a year, and I'm not the kind of person who's like out there trying to get in the limelight much, but I think a lot of the things that I did were more on the background contribution. So for instance, I was helping the undergraduate students to a lot of them in the program who are from African countries, and who might not have gotten used to like academic writing. So I was like helping them get used to that, and editing their work. I was doing a lot of photography. I was doing some writing as well about my experiences, and I think it was all of those things that contributed to me winning the award.
Wow. I was really impressed with that. The video was really nice. It's like, wow, it seems so kind of extravagant. Like there you were.
No, it was amazing, because like it's this really wonderful hall, and it's like the architecture is like very high ceiling with like the domes and spires, and it's like 1,000 people in there, because they gave me the award at the what do they call it, like when new students come in to and matriculate, they have like a ceremony at the beginning of the year. So they gave me the award during that ceremony. So everyone, like a lot of like the new students were there, and like it was filled out. It was just before COVID, so it was as magnificent as it could be. Yeah, and as an award, I also got to like I got to visit the the palace in Edinburgh, and have a dinner with the princess, Princess Anne. She's like Queen Elizabeth's daughter. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
That is cool. Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, last question, and then and we'll wrap it up. So Muturi, which if you weren't a learning professional, what do you think you'd be?
Couple of things. Most likely a writer or a journalist, but also maybe a therapist, a coach, or a farmer. Yeah, I like farming. I do farming on the side as well, so maybe I could be doing that more full time or something. Yeah,
that is great. Wow, Muturi, it's been an honor having you on. I think I'm pretty sure. Let's see, and you're in Kenya right now.
Yes, I'm in Kenya, Nairobi.
Yeah. I think that this is the first broadcast we've had from anybody from that continent. So congratulations. It's great to have you. And if if I, we're really honored to have you at as part of the training, learning, and development community. Don't be a stranger. If you ever need help, any questions, anything like that, make sure you jump into the Slack group, or you can email me anything. I'm sure that there are lots of people that would be happy to help you with the things that you're doing, which sound incredible. And you are an amazing human being, and I really appreciate that you're taking the time and being a part of being one of the members of our group. So thanks for doing this.
Thank you. This was amazing. I'm gonna share it with people in my team. I think they're gonna enjoy it. I had a good time. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Muturi. Let me edit it first. I got to edit the beginning first, and then you can share it.
All right. Just let me know when it's ready. Yeah.
Okay.
You said you also do a podcast.
Yeah, it'll be on a podcast, so I'll have it out.
How soon will the podcast be out?
Probably this weekend, like usually on Saturday or Sunday.
Cool. That's exciting. Looking forward to it.
All right, Muturi, thank you. And thanks, everybody. We got a few people in already. So have a great day, and we'll see everyone next time. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.